on each particular slide, because I do want to leave room for a lot of questions, because I believe this is a topic that has questions and will have questions. So you can see we're going to talk about our peak driver recruiting plan for Stevens for the peak season 2015, our agent tractor purchase programs, and the one comment I want to make about that is that what you see in these slides today really are the updated versions of the plan. So we do have to go into the system, SBL online, and correct some of the words and verbiage that are in plans A, B, C, and D. So what you see in the webinar here, and Katie, they have the ability to obviously print this, right, on their end?
Yes, this will be posted on Stevens TV, but then we also will email it out to all the participants, so you have it for your reference.
Okay. So, I'll put some particular attention on some of those things. Also, the agent guaranteed hauling program, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a precedent setting $3,000 bounty for a driver referral opportunity. And then I'm sure I have everyone on the edge of their seats on what odds and ends will be, and we'll wait because that's the last slide. Next slide, please. So our goal right now when we put our hauling plan together for 2015 is to, by the peak season, have 90 headquarter long-haul drivers. Today we're sitting at 60, and we're obviously driver retention is a goal for all of us. There's not just at headquarters, but with the agents also. We're about ready to, and by the end of the week, have a major contract signed, and I'm sure it will go out there in the industry and be a talk on. Is with TMM to be a major and primary hauler for them, and basically what that means is that that is going to be a situation where we really are really have a command over their shipments of first pick versus what many of you, I know, you look at their list today and you're only seeing certain types of shipments on there. But as a primary hauler under contract with them, we will be receiving a different list, which has, and basically we will have first choice up there in terms of being able to select shipments. And what that ends up being is in terms of shipment size. Right now, the list that we're looking at from a van line perspective are all the small shipments that have to load by now and the end of the week. So that changes within the next 48 hours, and that should really help all of our agent drivers as well as our, as all of our long haul PBOs. Our goal is to have at least 45 long haul agent drivers. For the peak season, we're sitting today at 29. So we've got some work cut out for us there. We have, and this again, this is this phenomena about regional drivers from an agency perspective. Today we have 50 what we'll call regional agent drivers that really stay within what might be eastern Mississippi, it might be the 12 Western, it may be they run a certain pattern from the northeast, the southeastern corridor, but we have regional drivers also, which are 50, and we seem to be able to support that 50. And the regional drivers also will come and go. They're not necessarily out there to be working 24/7. So we seem to be able to, that 50 number seems to work well for all of us. But where we really need the help, especially during the peak, is in the long haul hauling. And I threw that in there right now that we're assessing the ability to maybe start out with 5 shuttle drivers that do nothing but pull Stevens shuttle trailers from and to our agents, and we will be putting out there load, unload packages for our agents, family to look at. We'll get that out there by the end of this month, certainly by the middle of March on that one. So what we want to do is that these are the 4 purchase assistance programs for equipment. Obviously, some of you may have a driver, but you need help getting into a tractor. So we put together some programs designed to help you do that. Jim Van Haren also has gone out and found a great vendor for us to purchase 2012 internationals that they, without APU systems, and there's a reason why we're doing that, because that adds about $10,000 to the unit. So you as an agent, I know we already have 5 agents that are going to be on our purchasing program with these tractors. You'll be able to buy a tractor for under $50,000, 2012. So, and our goal and why we changed our vendor and the type of tractors, we wanted to keep the payment for the driver under $1,000 a month. So that was a goal for us, because we, with the type of tractors we were buying, that driver ended up with a $1,200 a month or $1,300 a month payment. So we wanted to, from a recruiting perspective, to have the ability to keep that driver under $1,000 a month. So we think that really will help with that. So Plan B is a $10,000 equipment loan. Plan C is an equipment financing program. And what we'll call Plan D is what we call a guaranteed hauling program if you put a unit out there with us. So go to the next slide so we can get to Plan A. In Plan A, this is one where basically we loan you $10,000, and you go out and you secure your own financing, and then we put an interest loan together for over 12 months at 8%. But all of our programs have certain standard things in there relative to electronic logs and tablets and smartphones. So these are just things that need to be done, not only from a compliance standpoint, but from a communication standpoint also out there for the unit. You can see with this one here is that we would directly dispatch that unit, and we would guarantee a $225,000 line haul. And once you achieve that $10,000 debt would be a forgiveness loan. So this is the top enchilada right here for you. This is a great opportunity. Go to Plan B. Plan B is that we'll loan you $10,000 towards the purchase of a new tractor. You're going to go out and get your own financing. Stevens will need to be listed as a second secured party on the tractor, and the bank needs to know that up front. You'll sign a security agreement. All of our $10,000 loans are 8% interest for 18 months or less. And in this particular one, a unit will be eligible for a hauling bonus program if bonus programs are available at the time. So Plan C is that you, as the agent, come up with $15,000. Stevens will purchase the tractor, and then we'll prepare a lease purchase agreement at 8% back to you, not to exceed 60 months. And if the 60 months go beyond what your current agency agreement is, your agency agreement will be extended in order to fulfill the loan payment. This particular truck has to be identified as a long-haul unit. This is not something that we're looking to turn into a regional unit that the system does not have available to itself all the time. And this unit would be available for any hauling bonuses that are available at the time. So this is a key one here and what we're trying to do with the finance programs and is to increase our long haul capacity. That's what we really need to accomplish here. And it's very important for when you're working within the corporate arena and with many relocation companies. Plan D, and that's why I say you'll see that in these programs that are written online right now, they talk about a 2008, but we're changing them to be a 2010 tractor or newer. And that really has a lot to do with the CARB compliant laws there's no reason for you to be getting into a tractor that won't qualify. 2008, I think, will not qualify a year from now.
Right.
So we need to make sure that if you're purchasing tractors out there, as well as when we purchase tractors, that we are going to not run out of CARB compliant years with that unit. But this is a situation where, and this is a one-time offer for a unit, okay? And this has to do for long-haul capacity. And where if you put a driver in a unit, and starting May 1st, and we have, for 12 months, we'll guarantee it $225,000 in the line haul. And get this, if we fall short of that, we will pay you 35% of the net line haul that we fall short of. So let's just say in this particular case that we fell short $25,000 in net line haul, right? We would owe you $8,750 in Pizza Hut coupons.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah. No. So you can see that the van line is really putting a lot of backbone into what we're saying when we start talking about guaranteeing line haul here. And that's why you see about the available days that unit must be in operation under long haul. We understand that you may switch drivers out. And so, I mean, we're really talking about that particular unit, that tractor. So, and a total of 265 days, that truck has to be available for dispatch. Because we need every opportunity to be able to load that truck and to fulfill that commitment of $225,000 in line haul. Yes?
I have a question.
You were supposed to wait to the end, but I'll allow you since.
Okay, well, thank you. So they at least have to add one new driver to the capacity, correct, based off, it only applies to.
Yeah, we're talking.
New driver.
You could have a Stevens qualified driver that's working locally, and you want to place him in that unit, but that unit has to be ran long haul.
Gotcha.
Okay, we're looking for that power unit that's pulling that trailer.
It has not been in the system.
And that tractor has not been in the system before. Okay, again, you may take one of your local drivers that want to experience the road, and out there and put them in that unit. We don't.
Driver's less important than that piece of equipment.
Actually, the driver's the most important person. But in this situation here, we're talking about tractor. Okay.
Okay.
But we want to be flexible. That if you have a guy that's running regionally, all of a sudden you want to put him in that unit, and because it's the unit that's the line haul that's assigned to that unit that we're tracking the revenue on. Okay.
Anything else with this one?
No, that's it. That's it on that. So again, some of the common points of each of these plans is 2010 or newer tractor. The tractors need to be painted and decaled per Stevens specs. They must have our DOT number on it, and that's very important. That any new tractor has our DOT number on it from a compliance standpoint, going across the scale, and what have you. And it needs to be a dual axle, configured to be able to handle 80,000 pounds. So we're not out there buying or putting trucks in the system that aren't, they're single axles and what have you. The tractor must be involved in a 12-month long haul operations. Tractor must be equipped with the necessary e-logs, tablet, and smartphones at all times. And what's good about that, it doesn't matter what drive you put in the truck, as long as they're Stevens qualified, because they can sign in with their own ID. So
They have to be utilizing them.
100%, yeah. And most of these, the tractor and the driver must be in operation by June 1st, except for Plan D with that $225,000 guarantee. We want them in there on May 1st. And you need to provide the appropriate trailer with all the onboard equipment. And that driver, tractor, and trailer must be FMCSA compliant at all times. Next slide, please. Here's a referral program here. You know, this was one that had great debate because we've tried a number of ways to recruit drivers at the van lines. And I'm a member of the Safety and Operations Committee at AMSA, so I get to see a lot of operations people from other van lines, and we do discuss different approaches to recruiting drivers and what are each of us doing, what are we doing different. So I mean, but the one common denominator that I saw was there was nothing that really had a big call to action out there. So I mean, internally here at Stevens, we have an aggressive internet marketing program. We have our Google ad program we kicked off last week. But the question is, what do you do and include in all of your internet recruiting programs? What can your dispatcher, your operations person that comes nose to nose with a House of Good driver, experienced House of Good drivers, what is the difference maker that encourages your operations person or your warehouseman to take the time to talk to that driver about why you need to switch over and work with Stevens Van Lines? And so we felt that, you know what, money, because we know that we pay our drivers they get paid within 48 hours. Any headquarter drivers get paid within 48 hours. Again, this $3,000 referral bonus program applies when you refer a driver for the headquarters fleet. And I believe there probably will be discussion on here at the end here about referral bonuses for drivers that go to the agent, that want to go to the agent. I do know that we probably placed 3 or 4 drivers that inquired last year in our recruiting process that wanted to drive for an agent or we thought was a better fit for an agent, and I know that we referred those drivers to our agents. And I think those drivers are still in action today and they're driving today. So we are asking the question, just so everyone hears out there, that if we don't think if that driver is more interested in driving for an agent, we will refer that driver to the agent. And that's at no cost to the agent. We're not charging you to recruit drivers for you. So from a call to action, what really gets people motivated to take the time to talk to someone is money. It's not about jewelry. It's not about clothes. It's money. So last year we had $1,000, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, we had $1,000 referral package. And we referred, how many did our existing headquarter fleet refer? Was there like 12? Something like that?
12, yes, and 9 had stuck with us for quite a while.
Yeah. So our current headquarter fleet actually referred 12 drivers to us last year, which 9 of those 12 are still in operation with us. So what does this tell us? This tells us that when you have an experienced household goods driver or an experienced person in the household goods industry talking to a driver, an experienced household goods driver, it all adds up in terms of how the conversation goes. And we spent a lot of money on internet websites. We spent a lot of money on lead programs, different recruiting trips, and so forth and so on. But what it really boiled down to was we believe the strength of a recruiting program is a referral program. And not that we're not going to try to still do some of those other things, but we're going to put more money into the referral program of an experienced household goods driver today. And so that $3,000, we're looking to use that as a call to action to get people involved and excited about recruiting. Now, from an agency perspective, this is something that is paid to the agency, okay? We would let the agent principal decide how they want to split up that $3,000. And so, I mean, your employee can't call in and refer a driver and collect $3,000 without your permission, unless you say they can, okay? And the reason being is because that employee is probably recruiting that driver on your payroll, paying for it. But when all of us can add a driver for long haul distance capacity, we improve all of our sales opportunities and improve our service capabilities. So we've put a big bounty out there for experienced House of Good drivers, and we think this is going to pay off immensely.
Spread the word.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here today talking about this. And there's the contact numbers and emails for Jim and that, and I know that all of you know how to get a hold of me. So, if you can't get a hold of Jim or something, all you got to do is pop an email to me or text me or call me on my cell phone, and it doesn't matter what day or night. Jim and I are 24/7 on this driver recruiting trail, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We don't sleep anymore. We don't eat. Nothing. Next, is this the odds and ends slide? Here we go.
For it. All
This is the
right.
big one. We have put together a tractor purchase program for our agents to leverage off of, okay, to purchase trucks to put into the long haul system. Jim, why don't you explain this a little bit in terms of our vendor and the warranties to go along with it and the price?
Yeah, we have, we're dealing with a vendor out of Baltimore, Maryland right now, International. He's got some 2012 Internationals. And once again, like Jim said, they don't have the APU unit or anything, but cost-wise, we've been able to really drive it down. The guy's going to he's going to do a DOT inspection, full PM service. He's going to take it to his shop and burn the filter, the DPF filter, which is a big thing nowadays. And we're going to have a 3-year warranty on them. It's going to be completely detailed and new mattresses and everything into it. But to me, the big thing was the 3-year warranty.
Yeah, and if you're interested in jumping on our purchase program with it, that you ought to be able to get into this unit for under $50,000. It's somewhere right in between $47,000 to $49,000. That'd be delivered. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, Judy.
What is an APU unit?
It's an auxiliary. It's a auxiliary power unit. Okay. And instead of the driver running his truck and burning fuel, it's an auxiliary power unit. But what we've decided to do and why we went after tractors, if we would have taken our normal tractor route this year from our previous vendor with the KWs, we'd have been that tractor would have been about $76,000. Okay. So look, the bottom line is people can't afford that. So from a headquarter perspective, we decided, you know what, we're going to get a decent tractor with some warranties on it. We're not going to put the APU on it, which is somewhere between about $10,000, right? We decided on our end here that if that driver sticks with us for a year, and he really believes that the APU unit is in his mode of operation, he could really benefit from it, we may help the driver with that. Okay? I'm not going to say to what degree. I'm just saying that we may help the driver with that. But today, we want the driver to have as low as cost with the best tractor and warranties possible. And let's see how he operates. Because a lot of times these are first timers that are out there. They're guys coming from a local standpoint, or guys that were hit and miss in terms of the long distance they did, or they're guys that have lost tractors and lost equipment during 2008 during the recession and need to get back in. They don't need all the bells and whistles. What they need to do is be able to make money. So that's why we went with this type of tractor purchase program. So that's where we're at. That's how where we are at with that. So if you want to be on the tractor purchasing program, we look like we're going to probably buy around 10 or 11 units in order to hit our numbers. But we have 17 to 20 units that we can purchase, and we can get more. So time's a wasting. If you want to get involved, get a hold of us right away.
Are those units being brought here, or are they staying there and being picked up? I'm just wondering, are they going to be fully graphicked?
Now we're going to bring now that price that when we sell the tractor to the agent picks up the tractor here in Saginaw, because we want to make sure before we sell it, that tractor is way it's supposed to be,
Right.
according to way in terms, right? For us to, now, I know we have some people that are real, out there, real gearheads, for lack of a better description of it. You know, and may want to actually go to Baltimore, you know, because that's where these units are at. So you may want to take a ride down to Baltimore. I know we have agents that are out there that are you know, they're going to be involved, and they may just want to just drive down there and take a look at the unit and talk to the vendor and what have you, which you're more than, you know, we're happy to do and set that up for you. Let's talk about peak pricing a second here. Our goal is we will have that out by March 1st. I know that we'll be meeting on the 24th, Les Derbyshire and Scott Ginden as representatives from the AAC with the feedback on our pricing, and so we will have that pricing out by March 1st, 2015. If you have any other comments about that interview out there, you know, feel free to give myself a call. You know, because we want your input on this pricing. We've done a lot of statistical studies on this, and not just internally, but also externally with our competitors. And I mentioned before too that we will be sending out a load-unload schedules to our agents to load Stevens shuttle trailers. This last one here about the e-logs, and you know, this is probably, you want to fire up conversation. This is one of those you don't discuss in a bar, okay? Because everyone says, well, you know, the government hasn't mandated it yet, right? And they keep pushing it off, and we're hearing about the fall of 2015 and about you won't have to actually put one of these in your truck to 2017 or what have you. Let me tell you what we have found out. The difference between a driver with electronic logs and a driver that's on paper logs. Right now, today, our paper logs, about 80% of our paper logs, greater than that, I'm sorry, closer to 90% of all paper logs that are turned in from our agent drivers who are not on electronic logs. That other 10% are turned in from drivers who are on e-logs that for some reason may have had a phone problem or a tablet problem, and they have to do a paper log for each day until they get back up and running, okay? But here's the deal. That 90% of the paper logs that come in are from our agents, and virtually 95% could not pass a audit by the Federal Motor Carrier. And we submit all of these paper logs through RARE. We are putting together, for our agents who are submitting paper logs, we will put together a summary report on what your paper log profile is, so that you can literally see. And why is this? Because we published back last September a behavior change financial penalty matrix for those that are violating the Federal Motor Carrier laws, whether it be a driving without a medical card, whether it be driving without the proper license, expired license, vehicle maintenance penalties, because the only way to get people's attention seems to be through the pocketbook. It is not our mission to be fining people all over the place. But we do know where our issues lie. And we do know that when they come in to audit us, that the first thing they're going to go after are the paper logs. That's really what got Stevens from a satisfactory to a conditional rating 2.5 years ago. We've invested thousands of dollars. We've invested over $100,000 in our e-log program. And so we know what the results are. We know where the problems and the issues are and the challenges that we have to fix. We cannot ignore this. Insurance companies today also come in and they assess your paper log situation. Are you really paying attention to it, or are you just fluffing paper around do you really care about safety, or do you not care about safety? So the issue of being 100% defiant of we're not going to do it until we're told to do it, and I understand from the agency side, since I was there 12 years, the challenges you have relative to how you're utilizing your Class A drivers. You know, they could be working on locally for you during the week, and all of a sudden they get in that truck and they run a short haul, or you know, the guy's got 4 days down, he's at home, you want him to work on the clock to help you, and next thing you know, he's got a trailer and he's on his way to California, and we shut him down in Denver because he's out of hours. So there's a couple of facts that really came out and jumped at me the other day too. We have found that our drivers on e-logs have better time management skills. Even their customer satisfaction skills are higher. Their safety scores are higher.
For communicating.
Their communication, oh yeah, the communication is immensely improved. Why? Because they're sitting there with a tablet that we have put so many different types of applications on that enable that driver to send his paperwork to us, that improves the cash flow in his own checking account, that improves the claims process, right? We're looking at systems right now to where our drivers really, in the near future, will be doing electronic inventories. So the communication, I mean, our dispatchers, we've mounted our dispatchers up with tablets and cell phones so that they can be in communication with that driver that they're dispatching on really on a 24/7 basis. And so, you know, when we talk about e-logs and everybody says, well, you know, I understand we have some fellows that have been driving for 40 years, and you want to know what, they don't even know what an email is. And, you know, you have to manage any business by exceptions, and we all understand that, but we cannot let those exceptions take us down the wrong path. We cannot let those exceptions that we're trying to manage negatively impact the rest of the team. And it's difficult conversations. I know that we have some agents that have drivers, and 80% of their drivers are on e-logs, and I've had discussions relative to why the other two drivers aren't on there. I get it, you know. Now, what do we have to do? We have to develop a regimented program on how we're monitoring and managing their paper logs. Is there an additional cost to that? Yes, but also we need to be sensitive that, look, drivers aren't growing on trees. We're willing to pay $3,000 referral bonus. But we can't allow the world to take advantage of that either, okay? So, but I tell you, we've been very successful with electronic log program in this company. And it's gotten now down to the point where we know exactly where our challenges are, and we're developing plans to fix them. So I'm open for all sorts of questions right now. I hope there are a lot of them.
All right, we have a few. Let's start with the top. Are the agents able to look at TMM's list?
I cannot give a yes or no answer on that at the present time, because from a contractual basis, that list comes to us from a corporate standpoint. That comes versus the list that you can publicly, you know, I know many of you already look at TMM's list. And you're seeing what we're seeing as a van line today, what's their scraps. Okay? I think that is something that we know we need to address that on whether or not we have our agents look at that list. Because keep in mind, folks, there's still a dispatch priority, whether it's the peak or non-peak season. You know, just because you may look at a TMM list and see a shipment out there and say, well, I want to haul that shipment, there's still a dispatch priority. It's not a chaotic wild, wild west out there. I mean, we have people that commit their capacity 12 months out of the year to us, so we have perm fleet slots, we have committed slots. You know, we would not dispatch a regional driver over a perm or committed long-haul driver. We have quality ratings, the safety ratings that come into play when it comes to dispatch. So I know that's a long answer there. It's not a yes or no answer, but it's really more of a contractual answer in terms of how we can publish that particular type of list that we get from TMM as our van line because of our contractual agreement. So
can we figure that out and maybe get back to them with an answer for that?
yeah, most definitely.
Yep.
Most definitely.
You track line haul by unit number, which is the trailer number. Some agent might use 3 different trailers with 1 tractor. How will that be tracked? I think that's in reference to calculating the 225.
We'll internally have to be tracking that by the tractor number. We'll set up a process internally on that.
Okay. Do they have to be XRS logs or probably transponders?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
And let me tell you why, because our entire systems, our staff, we're all on XRS. And I know that I have seen different products out there, and there's good and bad of all different types of products, but Omnitrex that has purchased XRS, well known in the system. We have converted right now, we have the XRS latest version. We also have the Turnpike version from them. I will tell you from a van line perspective, what we see with XRS, we get what we need out of it. So someone could have another bell and whistle. It would be nice to have, but it's not a must. And as you go through any transition period there, and we got our people now used to certain type of hardware and applications, and you want to know what, there's really not a good business reason for us to move.
Right.
Now, some of you may have some type of tracking device on your units, and you're going to have to talk to me individually about that.
Do both axles on the Internationals have power?
No.
No,
Just
they
the
don't.
front axle will. The back axle's like a tag along.
Can we get a list of all operational people's cell phone numbers?
Yeah. But I will put out there, and I'm not afraid of saying this, because this is what we tell our drivers. We love you, and we are available for you. The number's not to be abused. So by the way, if you're the booker or the OA or the DA or the hauler or if you're the OA, booker, and the DA, you can go into SBL Online. You can also see the driver's cell phone number. I hope everybody's aware of that.
Yeah,
So
that's
from a dispatcher position, we can publish those numbers, but we need to determine the format on how we're going to do that.
What is the distributed line haul on the TMM? I believe that's probably still being worked out via contract.
Well, it would be whatever your compensation schedule is to what we end up with in terms of distributor line haul. So, is that from Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, like a Denali shipment that we take, revenue would be distributed probably the same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think maybe the point of that question is whether or not is it from 100% of the line haul or 95% of the line haul, Bonnie, right?
Right. What does TMM withhold? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we have contractual terms with them in terms of we were very creative in terms of how we put a contract together with TMM. A little different than what most have. For lack of a better, I can't comment any further than that, other than that you receive your normal compensation off of what distributed line haul that we receive from TMM.
So then that would mean if TMM distributed, let's pick a number, at 95%, you would get 67% of the 95%.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is TMM tonnage considered a Stevens shipment in respect to the summer season incentive? Is he talking about peak season pricing maybe?
Who's asking that question?
Steve Grennan.
Can we unmute him?
Yes.
Steve, take your phone off mute. We want to
Do it here.
ask the question outward. Make sure it's.
Hang on, Steve, we gotta unmute you here.
Okay, you're unmuted now, Steve.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah. You cooking your burgers out there in the snowdrifts?
Oh yeah, having fun. No, I'm just the 5% bonus that you do in the summer for committing to.
That's it.
Wait.
Okay, I'm sorry. You talking about for the dedicated truck?
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Is that
Yeah.
would that still be with TMM or just Stevens tonnage?
Let me process it a second here.
Okay.
I think we only did Stevens tonnage in the past.
Yeah, because we receive various
Yeah,
levels of revenue.
right.
Right. You're talking about the 5%, Steve, that we were paying for the dedicated unit, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I believe that was being paid just off the Stevens tonnage, according to Bonnie.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Steve.
All right, Steve, you're getting muted again. Thank you.
It's happened before.
Ah,
All right, do we have any other questions? Anything about the referral program, the new tractors? If you do, just feel free to write it in the little question box.
okay, this one, right? How do you choose which agent you refer a driver to?
Don't you have to come to us with an interest in it?
Well, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, usually we only have one agent within a marketplace. We'll take a look and see where this driver lives, right? Because maybe some would say, hey, do you have a driver that's somewhere within a 5-hour drive of my house or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we'll take a look at those things. So, I mean, there's various degrees of factors on where we may refer the agent to or the driver to. We have agents that have said, look, if you find a driver, talk to me, right? We have other agents that are not interested in supporting a unit that's out there on the road. So they could be in the same marketplace with another Stevens agent, but they really don't have an interest in terms of supporting a unit out on the road. So I mean, there are factors to come involved in there. There's not a pecking order per se, and I think that's what that question is. There's not a pecking order. I think every situation is unique in itself in terms of.
But if you need a driver, shoot me an email so I got
Yeah.
so I got it on record.
And again, we're recruiting long-haul drivers.
Roger's asked to be unmuted, so
Oh, no.
Raj, you're unmuted.
Hey guys, Jim and I were talking yesterday. Jim's probably going to deny it, but we talked about how to incorporate this in your agency's strategy for attracting drivers. I know it used to be we always had guys coming in the door unhappy with their boss, ready to switch, and it just doesn't happen all the time. My last job before I came to Stevens, we had about 13 long-haul drivers, and one of the things we did was we really focused on foreign drivers that came to our dock. And I love the guaranteed minimum line haul. I think that's part of it, having the right equipment. But something we did that was very successful was we tried to get their attention. So we had a program that we called it a $10,000 signing bonus, which at first my boss kind of had a heart attack at it, and it definitely got some people's attention. But what it really came out to was they got a $2,500 bonus after 3 months, then another $2,500 credited to their account when they'd been with us a year, and we basically created their deposit by putting $100 a week on their account for the first year. All in all, they did get 10 grand. Yes, it cost us, but it only was for guys who stuck with us a year and hauled the line haul we were talking about. And frankly, if a guy hauled 225, 250 for us, we could afford 10 grand over the first year to get their attention. But the key was we had to get the driver's attention who came to our dock. So we had flyers printed up. We had them posted. Our ops guys would stop by the scales, or not the scales, but the truck stop, talk to drivers, because we got to get the attention of good drivers who need a reason to switch. Not everybody's going to be grumpy and unhappy, but everybody who's aspirational is looking for a way to make a couple extra dollars. So that was something we did. Is Les on this call?
Yeah, in fact, Roger, I see Steve Brennan has a couple more questions. I see Les has a comment too.
Yeah, because Les, I was hoping you could share something kind of that you've used to entice drivers that come across your dock.
Les, if you give me one moment.
And you can
All
mute
right,
me
you're
now. I'm
unmuted.
done.
All right, Raj, thank you. Les, you're unmuted.
Okay, in answer to Roger's question, what we tend to do is we get a lot of foreign carriers in here delivering military shipments, usually for SIT. And Colleen and I both make it a point to talk to these drivers to see if they're unhappy or happy, if they're willing to switch, and that's how we've recruited a couple of drivers in the past, both good and bad. We've had good experience and we've had bad experience.
Yeah. Hey, Les, you also made a comment. Hold on, I got to move up. Tractor purchase should not be tied to contract terms, but rather be payable in full if agent leaves the system.
Well, we can probably speak to that.
Say that again, I didn't.
Well, in other words,
Basically, the question is that we shouldn't have to, or that the agent shouldn't have to extend the agency agreement. At the end, they should have to pay it in full. Well, if for some reason it's left on bad terms, then, you know, that comes back on Stevens and not maybe necessarily the agent. So.
Well, in response to that, Katie, would you want to retain an agent for another 4 years if you're on bad terms?
Well, hopefully we'd be able to mend whatever issues, you know, we were having before it got to that point.
I think it's more incentive than anything else. It's like, okay, if you want to do this and you are willing to extend for a year, usually it's 2 years or less, then your mindset and our mindset are both in a different place, and I think it tends to work out better if we do it that way.
And the notes that we have our agent sign do state if they leave the company either by their choice or our choice, the note is due and payable immediately. So we do have that in the contract, the note contract for the purchase.
let me tell you, I see both sides of the fence here, okay? So you know, right, wrong, yes or no answer on this one here, you know. People have heard me say before, the secret is how do you manage the exceptions within your organization, because sometimes managing those exceptions create very positive impact for your company. So I think that when you start taking a look at whether or not somebody, you know, this may be only a situation that happens 5% of the time. So do you not get flexible on 5% of the time? No, you get flexible on 5% of the time. So I hope that answers somewhat on that question.
Yeah, that pretty much answers it, Jim. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one last question, and this came up a couple weeks ago. When just have your people check your website when you're advertising for drivers. I think they're using the term employee, and that's going to turn around and bite you at some point, because you're taking the independent contractor relationship away from them, and you're going to be in violation of the IRS standards. So just check if you get a chance.
You talking about our contract?
No, he's talking about a website. Do you know which website?
Oh, you're talking about truckdriverjobsus.com.
No, I'm talking about the Stevens website.
Okay, our actual.
We have employee opportunities there in our COAs. We also have one employee driver in headquarters that does a lot of miscellaneous stuff for us. I mean, we'll put him on a plane and go fly and pick up a tractor.
check with John Vink. He's well aware of this. It came up in the court.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let's go ahead.
No, that's all I had, Jim.
All right. Thanks.
Trudy, thank you for that sign. I love it.
You're welcome.
Hey, Steve Grinnan. Can you unmute Steve?
Yeah. Steve, you're unmuted.
What are you just checking to make sure I'm still listening?
Yeah, we're doing a call check. You said, I just sent you one of my drivers. Are you up for a referral program?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, you are. You want to know why? And the reason being on this is this. Not all of us, I've seen drivers that want to leave headquarters to go drive for a Stevens agent, you know? And we seem to always work that stuff out because the key is keeping the capacity in the driver in the system. So, but, you know, we have the documents that get signed both ways because obviously headquarters is not in the business of recruiting drivers from agents, and the agents are not in the business of recruiting drivers from headquarters. So, you know, this is a business decision that if you have a driver that's just not happy, or you want to know what, you have to get out of the hauling business, or you can't support the situation, and you're able to refer that driver, and he comes over to a headquarter position. Yes, I would say you're entitled to that, and we have no issues with paying you that. Does that answer your question, Steve?
Yeah. I take com checks.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. You need help in hiring a driver out of California to drive the 2012.
Well, I'm thinking about it. If he could shuttle trailers from California to my other tractors, and we just swap trailers, I'd be able to do more California tonnage.
Talk to me offline on that. I want to make sure I understand what you're at. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Oh, those are a lot of good questions.
Yeah. All right.
Our agents never fail to keep me on my toes.
All right. Well, Jim, thank you. Just a couple upcoming events that we have going on at headquarters or with headquarters. We have Roger's sales chat. Should we do a call chat, or not sales chat, the sales conferences? Raj, I've unmuted you again.
All right, yes, sales conferences are coming up. We were doing 2 again this year. It's the first time we're back in Florida for, gosh, I think in 3 years. We've kept the cost down, very reasonable. We picked, by the way, Vegas and Orlando because they're the 2 cheapest cities in America to travel to, plus the weather's a little better than Saginaw. But guys, we still have openings in both. Orlando is again coming right up. It's the 10th and 11th. Guys, we'd really love to see your participation. We've got an outside speaker coming in that we're working with. He's going to have some great content. We've got a lot of information that's going to be different from previous years. It's content, it's information, but it's all about making you and your sales team better at what you do, more effective with the time in the field, and more focused on growing your business. So again, those are coming up. You can reach out to myself or Katie if you don't have the registration link. Orlando, our room block, we got an extension on it, so we still are going to have rooms available for 1 more week. But again, we've got a lot of great things planned, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. And as a bonus, for those of you in the western half of the country, along with our sales conference, and again, Orlando is March 10th and 11th. You want to get in the evening of the 9th. Vegas, it's March 17th and 18th. Exact same material at both events. We've got the same speakers coming out. But the bonus in Vegas is you want to come in on Monday by noontime because Jim Welsh and Joe Biskner will be leading a conversation on summer capacity where we're going to do a little bit deeper dive on some of today's conversation. Plus, it's going to be more of a roundtable town hall. There's going to be a lot of conversation back and forth. Our plan is that Jim is not going to talk the whole time. He's going to get you talking to him. We as the Van Line want to hear what you have to say. So that is March 16th. That's in Las Vegas, the night before sales conference. And rumor is that if you have good ideas, Jim will even buy dinner and drinks for you.
Whoa. Whoa.
I love spending Jim's money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Roger. And I do just want to thank everybody else for attending. If part of your team couldn't attend right now, we have the session again at 3 o'clock. So be sure to join us then. And again, thank you.
Have a great day.